morning, everybody, or rather good afternoon, depending on where you are. This is Sarah Albrecht. I am the Director of Media Marketing here with Simplicity Des Moines in beautiful West Des Moines, Iowa. And also in West Des Moines with us, we have our Sales Vice President at North American, Casey Lane. He is here to tell you about an annuity that's actually can solve three great concerns that your retiree clients or your annuity clients might have. We're looking at flexibility, accumulation, and protection. It's a wonderful conversation we're going to have today about VersaChoice. It's been really performing very strong this year, and it's very easy to understand, very easy to explain to your clients. At this point, I'm just going to sign off and leave it over to Casey Lane. He's got some wonderful things to tell you about the product as well as North American. They've been a wonderful carrier to work with through the years and a great partner. So thank you all for tuning in, and we will check in with you later. We have our whole annuity panel here to answer any questions you might have later on. And I'll turn it over. Take care, Casey.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I appreciate that introduction. And more importantly, thank you folks here on our call today for taking time out of your busy schedule away from your own clients and prospects to join us, spend the next 45 minutes to an hour with us. You know, obviously, you folks are independent agents that work on commissions. So for you to take that amount of time out of your already very busy schedule and away from those clients and prospects is certainly very much appreciated. Sarah and Simplicity Des Moines, thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to host this webinar today, and also for the partnership that we've got with you folks. So it was January 2008. I was sitting on the couch, got a call, my phone rang. I can't remember if it was a BlackBerry or a flip phone. I think it was a BlackBerry at that time, but I saw the caller ID, and it was my mom and dad's house. I answered the phone. It was my dad on the other end. We chit-chatted for about 20 or 30 seconds, and I could just tell by the tone of his voice that something was not right. There was something wrong. And he proceeded to tell me, he goes, son, he goes, Mom and I need you and your sister to come back home one of the next 2 weekends. We've got some news that we need to share with you. And if anybody knows me, I'm a very optimistic guy, but man, for some reason, the next like 7 or 8 seconds, I had so many negative thoughts running through my head. I mean, the first thing that came to mind is, holy God, he's sick, he's got cancer. And then I immediately thought, oh my God, both mom and dad are sick. Both of them have cancer. And then I thought, surely after 45 years of marriage, you guys are not going to get a divorce at this point in time, are you? So the good news was it was nothing negative at all. It was actually great news, and that was that after being a union electrician for the past 42 years, he and my mom were going to go ahead and they were going to retire early next year, early 2009. They were going to live off of the fruits of their labor. So keep in mind, I don't know if anybody knows any electricians. I can tell you that growing up, we were never rich. We were never poor. We were a straight-up middle-class family. And same thing when my sister and I left, my mom and dad were just a middle-class family. So when we say the fruits of their labor, keep in mind it was nothing extraordinary. He had a pretty decent 401k. He'd been saving as much as he could over the years in that. He did have a pension plan through the union, so he was going to have a guaranteed lifetime income. Granted, it wasn't going to be a whole ton, but it was some lifetime income. He was going to also take Social Security right away. He'd be 65 at that point in time, and then he had a few other ancillary investments on the side. But again, nothing extraordinary. So again, this was January 2008. The plan was to retire January 2009. I think we all know what happened during that 12-month period in between there. And unfortunately, like a lot of folks, probably some of your clients, by the time his retirement date came around in January 2009, he had lost just under 50% of his retirement assets. So just under 50% of what they planned on using for retirement was gone. Now, he still had his pension plan. That didn't go down because of the market. He still could have taken Social Security, right? But that wasn't going to be enough for the lifestyle that him and my mom wanted to live in their golden years. And again, they weren't expecting an extravagant lifestyle, but nearly 50% of those assets they were planning on living on took a hit. So like a lot of folks, and I'm sure like a lot of your clients during that time frame, unfortunately, he had to keep working. and he continued for another 18 months. And I can tell you that the previous 42 years of him being an electrician, he absolutely loved his job. He loved going to work. He was excited to go to work. He always had something positive to say at the end of the day. But I'll tell you what, that last 18 months, he absolutely hated it. And he let my mom know, he let me know, he let my sister know, he let his sister know, he let he let everybody that would or wouldn't even listen to him know how horrible it was to have to keep working when you had your dream set on this retirement date. Now, the good news was that after that 18 months, he hadn't quite got back to even. So he hadn't quite earned back the full 50% he lost. I think he earned back about 40%. And at that point, he said, he goes, son, I'm at a point right now where I'm happy. Your mom and I can take what we've got. We can go live that life that we want to live. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull the trigger and call it quits. So I'm happy to say that since then, they've lived a wonderful life. They're enjoying retirement. We're enjoying it for them. So the story ended positively. But I share this with you because at that point in time, when that happened, I'd been in the business for 16 years. And it wasn't until that point in time that I truly realized the power and the peace of mind that our products can provide people. I don't care if you're rich, you're poor, you're middle class, our products and only our products can provide that peace of mind to policyholders and individuals. So the question is, are your clients' assets ready for the next market downturn? So here's what we're going to talk about today. Thanks for letting me share that story with you. So here's what I have on the agenda today. I've made it pretty easy. I've got 3 items. They all start with the letter P. So if you're thinking back, 2 weeks from now about my presentation, just remember the 3 Ps. First one we're going to talk about is some point of sale materials. I call them conversation starters. There's 7 slides I'm going to go through that are all part of a managing market volatility kit that we have available. It's a value add program that's available to you as agents. These are all pieces. You can either use them individually, take one out, use it yourself, go through them in a series. And what I'm going to actually do today is I'm going to go through these 7 slides as if I were in your shoes as the agent, meeting with either a current client or a prospect to talk about market volatility and index annuities. So we're going to go through that. Again, know that you can use these individually if you want to. You can take 1 or 2. You don't have to use all 7 and go through the same scenario, but it just kind of flows real nice. So we'll spend probably 10 minutes doing that, and the majority of the time then is going to be on product positioning, and that's going to be talking about our top-selling VersaChoice index annuity. This is going to be a $1 billion product, $1 billion with a B, that is, for us this year. Again, it is our top seller. We will look at it in terms of performance and some peace of mind benefits. So as Sarah alluded to at the beginning, and the title, this is a very flexible, very versatile product, and we'll go through that in some detail. And then what we're going to do is we're going to end with some producer perks, some what's in it for you. We'll talk about our agent loyalty rewards program. So again, these next 7 slides after this one are all actual client-approved point-of-sale materials. You can customize them with your information if you want to, and I'll go through this again as if I'm the agent, you sitting across the table from a client or prospect. So Mrs. Client, thank you for meeting with me here today. I know you've been a client and an advocate of mine for the last 15 years. I appreciate the business. Thank you very much. I brought you in today because I wanted to kind of go through and discuss with you and get your take on if we were to have a bear market hit tomorrow. We don't have the crystal ball. I can't tell you if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, but if it happens tomorrow, do you feel that your assets are prepared for that next market downturn? Because I'll tell you what, Mrs. Client, we are due for a bear market. Again, I wish I had the crystal ball and could tell you when that's going to happen, but nobody does. Nobody had the crystal ball back in 2008 and 2009, but we are way overdue, not just for a correction. We've had a few of those over the last 11 or 12 years, but we're due for a bear market. And if we look back just at the last bear market, back in 08, 09, the S&P dropped 57%. And I remember that time fondly because your 401k dropped just about 50%. I remember talking with you specifically about that. Now, let's assume that happens again. Let's just use the 50% number. Assuming we lose 50% today, Mrs. Client, how much do you have to earn next year just to get back to even? And on a side note here, folks, I'm assuming, I'm not a gambling man, but I would hazard a guess that if you ask 9 out of 10 clients, if you ask 10 clients, if you lose 50% today, how much do you have to make up over the course of the next 12 months just to get back to even? 9 out of 10 are going to say 50%. It's just the logic goes through their head that it's 50%. Well, unfortunately, Mrs. Client, it's actually 100%. You're going to have to earn 100% in the next 12 months just to get back to even. Now, is that possible? Could that happen? Anything's possible. Highly unlikely that you're going to earn 100% in the next 12 months. Even let's use a little more conservative figure. Let's assume it drops 25%. You lose 25% of your retirement nest egg today. You're going to have to make 33.33% next year again just to get back to even. A little more possible, but more than likely not going to happen. And I'll tell you why. You're probably not going to break even just after a year, Mrs. Client. And this is our bear market history chart, if you will. This looks back over historically back to the bear markets that we have had since 1932. And we do know that dating back to then, we get and have a bear market about 1 in every 5 years. So we've been in this bull market for over 10 years now. So we're well overdue to have that bear market. And when we do have a bear market, again, looking back historically, the average decline is, I'm in sales and marketing, so I'm going to say 40%, just to make math easy. So the average decline during those bear markets is 40%. And those bear markets usually last about a year and a half. And as we can see here, here's kind of the staggering number. The average time to break even in those bear markets, 5.2 years. And I know you've talked about retiring in the next 2 to 3 years. If we have a bear market and you lose 40%, unfortunately, more than likely, it's going to take 5+ years just to get back to even. And I know you don't want to wait that long. I don't want you to be like my dad and have to continue to work for another year or two after that. The other thing we have to worry about with retirement is the timing of your retirement. And when you start taking withdrawals or income, we call this the sequence of returns, and it can make a big difference as to when you retire and what happens immediately after that in the markets. Now, again, nobody has a crystal ball. I can't tell you if you retire today that the next 3 years are going to be bad years in the market. But let's look at an example of how this plays out. We've got George and we've got Jane. Both retire with $500,000 in their account value. And Jane retires 2 years later than George does, both with $500,000. Both of them are going to withdraw $40,000 a year from their retirement account. Now, George, as we can see, once he retires, nice thing for George, he kind of timed it just right. There was 2 very good years in the market immediately after his retirement date, and even though he's pulled $40,000 a year for those 2 years, his account value has grown to $675,000. Now, Jane retires 2 years later, the same $500,000. She's pulling $40,000 off as well, but unfortunately for Jane, she retires at the time where 3 consecutive years in a row, the market's down 10+%, up to 23% in 2002. Her account value, unlike George's, is depleting that much faster. And as you can see, her account is depleted by year 15, whereas George, even after year 20, still has money in his account and is still able to pull off $40,000 of withdrawals. Now, again, I know we don't have that crystal ball. I can't tell you, yes, retire today, no, don't retire today. But what we can do is we can prepare you for that next bear market, for that next market volatility. And it's kind of like Noah's Ark, Mrs. Client. Think about it. Was it raining when Noah built the ark? And if you don't know, the answer is no, it wasn't raining. But Noah built that ark in preparation for the floods. So what we want to do with your retirement assets is let's not wait until it's too late. Let's prepare today for the inevitable. And how can we do that, Mrs. Client? Well, today we're going to talk about an index annuity from North American Company. So, okay, there it was. That was approximately, yeah, I would say that was right about 10 minutes. Now, again, oh, you know what? We're not done yet. My goodness, Casey, what are you doing? We got to talk about the positive stuff. So those 4 slides, again, good conversation starters. I think you'd agree that those slides are going to get people's mind thinking about, well, man, am I prepared for that next market downturn? Do I have my retirement assets in the right spot? So now we'll move on, and now we're going to talk about the positives and what we can do to help prepare for that. And that is, again, talking about an index annuity. And what we have with this slide, Mrs. Klein, or this particular flyer, is we've got listed on the left-hand side several other retirement vehicles, investment options. You own a couple of these things. We've got money market accounts. We've got CDs. We've got mutual funds. And at the top of that flyer are some specific features and benefits that are available. And you can see the check marks as far as which of those boxes each of those investments check. Unfortunately, none of those, except at the very bottom, the fixed indexed annuity, does any other one check all of those particular boxes. Now, as a side note, just for time purposes, I probably, if I were you, would spend a little time talking about what each of those benefits and features are, tax deferral, guaranteed lifetime income, et cetera. But for time purposes today, I'm going to skip that. So again, this index annuity checks all the boxes. Another feature that isn't on this particular flyer, Mrs. Client, is a feature that is very unique to index annuities, and that's called an annual reset feature. And basically what the annual reset feature means is that once gains are credited to your index annuity, they can never, ever be taken away due to negative market performance. And what we see here in the middle, this dark green line, this is your index annuity. The red line is the S&P 500 index. Notice not once does that dark green line ever go down like the S&P does. When the S&P goes down, your index annuity simply stays flat. You will never lose money due to negative market performance. And once you have a gain credited to your index annuity, it can never, ever be taken away if that market goes down again. That's called an annual reset feature, and only an index annuity can provide that peace of mind in that particular feature. Now, Mrs. Client, you're probably thinking, hey, that's great, Casey. I like some of the features and benefits, but what's the opportunity here for me? I'm kind of curious on what the risk reward is about it for an index annuity. The beauty of an index annuity is it's going to give you the best features and benefits of those safe alternative products such as CDs, money market accounts, again, where you will not lose money if the market goes backwards. And at the same time, it's going to give you some of that upside potential that you can get with your riskier investments, such as your variable annuities, your stocks, your mutual funds. But the peace of mind to know that no matter what happens, you will never, ever lose money if that market were to drop. So now let's talk about a specific index annuity with North American Company. Okay, so that was just over 10 minutes. Again, your style is different than mine. You may have just covered 1 or 2 of those. I went through all 7 of those. And I think they kind of hit right in line to kind of, again, get the conversation going. Let's talk about a bear market. Are you ready for the bear market? Because here's what happens in a typical bear market. And then, well, what can we do to prepare for the next bear market with an index annuity? So now you can get more specific and talk about, if you want to, a specific index annuity, and that's what we're going to do now. So we are going to talk now about a little product positioning for our top-selling VersaChoice index annuity. And I mentioned this is going to be $1 billion product for us come the end of the year. What we've done the last, probably 10 years here is we've designed the product features and benefits after the name of the product. So I don't know about you, but when I see the name or the word VersaChoice, the one thing that pops into my mind is versatility, flexibility, and that's exactly what you get with the VersaChoice product. This covers a lot of bases. It covers a lot of clients, what if questions. I will be point blank frank with you. The one thing, the only prospect or client I probably would not talk to about the VersaChoice product is a client that is looking for lifetime income. This does not have an income rider that you can add to it. You can certainly annuitize this product for a client's lifetime. So it can provide guaranteed lifetime income, but it's not going to be as strong as if you were to purchase an income rider or an income product, if you will. So that's the only client that I would not approach and talk to about the VersaChoice. But I think you're going to see that with its versatility, anybody and everybody else that is a candidate for an index annuity is a candidate for this product. And we're going to look at it from the topics of accumulation, why this is such a good accumulation vehicle, and then we'll talk about it for those peace of mind benefits. So let's take a look at performance. And just as an overall quick summary of what's available here, because we're not going to go through each and every one of these crediting methods and indices on the next slide that you're going to see, but we do have a total of 11 allocation options where a client can divvy up their premium if they want to. We do have a few agents that allocate a little bit of premium to every one of the options. Again, you can put as little or as much in any one of the 11 that you want to. 9 of those are what we would consider uncapped strategies, where we don't apply a cap to the upside. Now, there will be either a participation rate or a margin, but there is no cap to what can be credited. And all 9 of those illustrate between 4 and 9% today net to the policyholder. I'm not sure what expectations you set for your index annuity clients, but we are very comfortable right now saying, Mrs. Client, you can expect 3 to 6% returns annually over the life of this policy. Now, sure, one year you're going to get 0. Another year you're going to get 10. Another year you might get 6. You might get 2 the following year. Over the life of the policy, you can expect between 3 to 6% returns on this policy. And we've got 9 strategies that illustrate between 4 and 9%. And they're household names. These indices are not some index that you got to get the dictionary out to pronounce it. It doesn't take you 3 breaths to get through the name of the indice. These are S&P family and Fidelity family indices. We have no other indices in here. Now, within S&P, we've got 3 different indexes that are available. It's not just the straight S&P 500. There are other strategies in the S&P 500 family as well available. And another peace of mind for clients that maybe weren't happy with what they got credited this year. Every policyholder on every policy anniversary has 30 days to reallocate to any other strategy that they want to. And that's with all of our policies. All right, so there's a lot of numbers on the screen. This is our rate spotlight sheet. And what this does is shows you the current interest rates on the various strategies. Well, let's start over here. The far left are the different indices and crediting methods that are available. Here are the current rates. You'll notice there's a low band, 20,000 to just under 75, and then higher than 75,000. So we do have higher rates for the $75,000 band. And on the right half of the screen are what the illustrated rates are in 3 different scenarios. So if you were to run an illustration today on our website, it's going to spit out about 16 pages of information. What this does, it takes that 16-page illustration and just summarizes how this thing would have performed based on those current rates. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at a 20-year period, and we're going to look at the most recent 10-year period and what that average annual credited rate would have been. We're going to look at the highest consecutive 10 years of the last 20 and what that would have been. And we'll look at the lowest consecutive 10 years of the last 20 and what those credited rates would have been. Now, again, since we're in sales and marketing, let's focus over here on the far right, the better rates, okay, the high band rates. Again, I'm not going to go through these line by line, but just take a look. Again, I mentioned 9 of these are illustrating between 4 and 9%. Disclosure, I did fudge the numbers. The one is 3.90, but we rounded up to 4%. So 9 of them you'll see between 4 and 9% net to the policyholder. Again, just take that in for a couple minutes. Now, again, can a client allocate to any one strategy and put 100% into that account? Absolutely. Again, you can put as little or as much in any one of these as you want to. And on policy anniversary, you can reallocate out of that any strategy into any other strategies that you want to. Notice that we do have a couple of new strategies. They're called enhanced participation rate strategies. We've got those available on the Fidelity Index, on an annual point-to-point strategy, and on a 2-year point-to-point strategy. What this enhanced participation rate means is for a fee, and that fee is 1.5% right here. For a fee, that client can buy up higher participation opportunities. For example, let's take a quick look at the Fidelity annual point-to-point strategy without the fee, just the straight Fidelity without the fee. Your participation rate today is 70%. If you want to pay a 1.5% fee, a charge, that will buy that participation rate up another 60% to 130%. So the client can, if they want to, pay the fee to buy up more upside potential. And by the way, we're not the only carrier that offers these kinds of strategies. There's several others that have this fee for rate type design. But let's just see what that equates to in the form of performance. So here's the annual par rate without this fee. If we go over here to the most recent 10 years, that would illustrate at 4.38% effective annual rate over the most recent 10 years. The fee for rate at 130% net to the client would be 6.58%. So over 2% higher annual interest credit for that 1.5% fee. Do you have to allocate to that? Absolutely not. It's an option. Just know that that fee is charged on any premium that is allocated to any of the 2 fee for rate, the annual or the 2-year fee for rate strategy. If you have no premium allocated to that, don't worry about it. No fee is going to come out. Worst case scenario, if you have money allocated in one of these fee for rate strategies for all 10 years of the contract, it's a 10-year surrender charge contract, there is a true-up feature that simply states that at the end of 10 years, if the fee assessed for these strategies is greater than the interest credited to your account, we'll true the policyholder up to the premiums they have put into the contract. So if you give me $100,000, Mrs. Client, and you have money allocated to one of those strategies for 10 years, and we have a bear market for 10 years, like we've had a bull market as an example, if you look at an illustration, $100,000 of premium, you look at the guaranteed page of that illustration, that $100,000 is going to be going down every year because of that fee coming out. But at the end of the 10th year, guess what? We true you up to $100,000 in your account value. So it's a kind of a nice peace of mind feature for that client that maybe doesn't like fees and ask, well, what if, these fees are greater than what I've earned? No problem. North American will true you up at the end of the 10-year period. So again, when you get a chance, take a look at some more of those strategies. If you want more detail on any of them, we can certainly get you flyers and provide you links to websites that are client approved on some of these volatility control strategies. But kind of like the guy I mentioned, we have a couple agents that allocate, every contract that comes in, they put a little bit in every one of the strategies. I don't think you have to necessarily diversify that much, but we are big believers in diversification here. I know I sit next to my sales desk, and I can tell when they're having a conversation with an agent about, running an illustration, and it gets to the point of, hey, Mr. Agent, where would you like to allocate the premium? And I'm going to say 6 out of 10 times the answer on the other end of the phone is, well, whichever crediting method illustrates the best, right? I want to show my client the best. So if you were to look back here, if you want the best illustrated rate on the VersaChoice contract, it's down here. It's the 2-year enhanced participation rate Fidelity strategy. That's going to illustrate at 9.51% on the most recent 10 years. So yes, that will illustrate the best, but I'm going to encourage you to take a look at a little diversification. And on this one, what I've done is I've diversified into 2 of the S&P Mark 5 strategies and 2 of the Fidelity strategies. So I've got 4 different allocations here, 4 different spots where this client's premium is. And look at this, even on the most recent 10 years, you're still looking at a net effective crediting rate of 6.65%. That is still very powerful for being in 4 different crediting methods. And if you look at all of these numbers, I've already counted them up for you. The total number of times that you're going to see a 0 to your account was 2 times. Right here is 1 in the most recent 10 years, and right here, same year, is the other one. Only 2 times in the last 10 years would you, or, I'm sorry, only one time in the last 10 years would you have seen a zero with this diversification strategy. So you eliminate a lot of the zeros and you still have good upside potential. Now, again, you're probably thinking, Casey, this is great. I like seeing nice illustrated rates, but that's exactly what it is. It's an illustrated rate. It's based on current rates today, right? And that's assuming that those rates stay exactly where they are for the life of the policy. If you've been in this business any length of time, you know that any carrier on any policy anniversary can change a client's renewal rates. I mean, there are contractual minimums. So technically, a company could drop those renewal rates to the contractual minimums. Now, I'm certain most, if not all, companies just don't drop them to minimums because they want to. There's certain reasons they have to change renewal rates. So my whole thing is, yes, this illustrates well. The credited rates look real strong. But what have you done for me lately? How have these policies actually performed? Well, that's exactly what we see on the screen here today. This is an HTML that went out about 3 months ago. And what we did is we went back to 2017 when the VersaChoice first became available. And we went through every policy that had been issued. And for policies in 2019, for policies that were issued in 2017 and 2018, every single policy, the average interest credit to the VersaChoice policies in 2019 was 5.8%. So somebody might have earned 2%, somebody might have earned 12. There was a couple, I'm sure, that had zeros. The average of every single VersaChoice policyholder issued between 2017 and 2018 was 5.8%. For policies issued in 2017, 2018, and 2019, those policies averaged 6.7% last year in 2020. So again, where the rubber meets the road on these things is, true performance, not illustrated rates, not hypotheticals, not backcasted numbers. What have you done for me lately? I think this page right here speaks volume for the VersaChoice as an accumulation vehicle, and I hope you agree with me on that. So that's the VersaChoice for accumulation. Now let's go ahead, let's move on and take a look at the VersaChoice as that peace of mind product for some enhanced liquidity. So available on the policy is an optional enhanced liquidity benefit rider, or ELB rider. That's the compliance name for it. I like to call it the peace of mind benefit rider. And by peace, I don't mean, the small chunks. I mean peace as in, hey, let's lift the concern that you have, Mrs. Client. Because what you're going to find is the 4 benefits that are available from this one rider all provide the client's peace of mind. And this rider costs 60 basis points. You have to add it at the time of issue. So 2 years down the road, you can't say, hey, let's add that peace of mind rider that Casey was talking about. You have to add it at the time of issue, but it is revocable, so you can remove it anytime after the policy is issued, and we'll stop charging that 60 basis point fee. But that 60 basis points gets you all 4 of these benefits. So let's go through these kind of 2 at a time, and we're going to start on the left-hand side. So first, let's take a look at the enhanced penalty-free withdrawal benefit. So this contract allows you to take 10% in the first year if you want to. If you've added this rider, what will happen is if you don't use 10% the first year, day 1, year 2, you can take 20% of your account value out penalty-free. If you do use that, the third year it will revert back to 10%. If you don't use it that year, in the 4th year, you can take 20%. Basically, it allows you to take 20% penalty-free withdrawals every other year. That's probably more sizzle than it is steak. I agree, but I'll tell you what, I've heard some nice agents share some nice planning opportunities that they think how they can use this thing. So one one agent told me specifically, hey, this is great because I got some clients that like to take, they like to take vacations, but they'd rather, every year, but they'd rather take a real nice vacation every other year as opposed to an okay vacation every year. This gives them the opportunity to do that. Take out 20% every other year, go on a little nicer vacation than you would if you were to do it annually. I had another agent say, hey, this is awesome. I've got some grandparents that, want to do some either charitable giving or maybe they want to help pay for a grandkid's college education every other year, this is a nice opportunity to use this as a vehicle for that purpose. And probably the most common one I hear is from maybe agents that are doing some AUM business, some registered reps, if you will, IARs. This gives them an opportunity every other year to rebalance their client's portfolio. If the market dictates, hey, what are we supposed to do? Buy low, sell high. So if the market's at a high in a year where you can take 20% out, let's get 20% out, take away the risk. Remember, this is what this whole thing was about, managing market volatility. Let's take away the risk, move that 20% over into, I'm talking the opposite. If the market's, at a low, and you have the opportunity to take 20% out of your VersaChoice product and get into the market and buy low, let's do that, Mrs. Client. Let's rebalance your portfolio every other year using that 20% withdrawal. So there are some nice things you can do with that. It's not just, again, sizzle, but there's some meat behind it. The second feature, return of premium benefit, and it states this works exactly like it says. Anytime after the third year, if the client needs or wants their money back for whatever reason, we will give them 100% of their premium back, no questions asked. Doesn't matter what they need it for. We don't even ask them for a reason. If we get a request to use the return of premium feature, again, as long as it's after the third year, worst case scenario, they're going to get 100% of their premium back because it is return of premium or cash surrender value, whichever is greater. So if they've had a couple of years of some real nice gains, even after the surrender value comes out, they might have an account value still that's greater than what they put in. But worst case scenario, they know for whatever reason, if they need or want that money, they'll get 100% of that premium back. That includes the fee as well for the rider. So if they've been in there 4 years, let's say, and all of a sudden in the fifth year, they gave us $100,000, they want to get their premium out, worst case scenario, they're going to get $100,000 back. Again, that is a peace of mind benefit because you're going to have clients that last throughout the sales process. Well, what if I have a huge emergency? I have huge medical bills. How can this thing help? Hey, worst case scenario, you're going to get your premium back anytime after year 3. Well, what if there's some new shiny object out there that I want to get into? You told me about this other investment thing. Can I get into that? Again, anytime after year 3, you want your money back, North American will give you 100% of your premium back to you. Honestly, in and of itself, that return of premium feature is probably worth the 60 basis points right there. But I think these next two benefits, I think you're going to provide even more peace of mind to these policyholders because you're probably having, I'm not a gambling man, but I'm guessing that you're having just as many conversations with clients and prospects about future health care and healthcare costs and what if I need assisted living? What if I want home health care? How am I going to pay for it? I'm assuming you're having just as many of those conversations as you are about, outliving my income in my retirement years. If you've got clients that ask those questions, this is a wonderful product for those individuals because we've got 2 first-to-market ADL-based benefits that no other carrier has. These are activities of daily living-based benefits. Now, let me preface this with the fact that if you have a client that has a long-term care policy already, maybe they've got a linked benefit or a hybrid, product, or maybe they've got life insurance that has living benefits. Don't go canceling those contracts and put that money in here. These features aren't meant to be a replacement for those standalone type products. You're not going to find anything better than a standalone long-term care or I'm gonna pitch One America, One America product. But if I'll tell you what, as well as I do, not everybody can get those things. I think there's something called underwriting involved. You have to go through some underwriting in order to determine if you're eligible to get those types of products, right? The beauty of these 2 features and benefits, there is one simple knockout question on the disclosure form. And it's a statement that says, at this time, I am able to perform all 6 activities of daily living. Yes, no. If they check yes, they get both of these ADL-based benefits. If they check no, they don't get these 2 benefits, but they still get the enhanced penalty-free and the return of premium feature. Those 2 are still available. That is the only underwriting involved. No urine, no blood, no APSs, just that one simple question. If they answer yes to that, these benefits are available to them. So again, Think of some of your clients maybe that you've approached over the years about long-term care or those products, but they just weren't eligible for them. How else can we help eliminate that future need? This is a great opportunity by using this particular product with this rider. So the first benefit, an ADL-based surrender charge waiver. As you probably know, most annuities have a nursing home surrender charge waiver, where, simply stated, if you are confined to a qualified care facility for a specific period of time, you have access to your account value without any penalties. There's no surrenders that will be assessed, right? That's for confinement. Now, I'm not a long-term care expert by any means, but I don't think you just simply go from being healthy to all of a sudden you're confined in a qualified care facility. There's some steps involved in between there, and typically one of them is you at some point in time aren't able to perform 2 of 6 of those activities of daily living. So this benefit simply states anytime after the policy is issued, if you are not able to perform 2 of 6 ADLs, you can access your accumulation value penalty-free, as little or as much as you want to, whenever you want to. So again, not confinement, doesn't require confinement to a qualified care facility. It's if you just cannot perform 2 of 6 ADLs anytime after issue, you can access your account value penalty-free, as little or as much as you want to. Do you have to? Absolutely not. If you've got other sources that you can use to help pay for whatever healthcare expenses you might have, you can use it. But just know the peace of mind that if you need it, it's there for you. Your account value is completely liquid if you need it. And again, I'm not a long-term care expert. I can't remember the exact terms, but this is not a reimbursement, or I can't remember the other term. So you can use that money for whatever you want to. I mean, if you're having home health care come, you don't have to use that money from your account value to pay for the home health care. You can go on a vacation if you want to. You can give it to your son, your grandson. You don't have to use it to pay for those. Reimbursement, I think, is a term, but it doesn't have to be used to pay for those benefits. But talk about peace of mind. Because I can tell you right now, I just turned 50 this year. This is a concern of mine, is how down the road, if something happens to me, am I going to pay for that type of health care? This is a great alternative for folks. The second benefit, ADL-based payout benefit. What this is an enhanced payout of the accumulation value over a 5-year period. And that enhanced payout is based on the year in which you elect to trigger this benefit. This benefit does not ever have to be triggered if you don't want to. If you do trigger this benefit, note that you are basically annuitizing the contract over 5 years. So you're done deferring the policy. There's no more growth in the account value. You're basically annuitizing. So it is an option that you can make if you want to, and it's available anytime in the 3rd year or beyond. You'll see on the screen here, this is the chart of the actual payout percentages of the account value. So let's look at the maximum. We're in sales and marketing. Let's go all the way over to the right. If at any time in the 6th policy year or beyond, you can't perform 2 of 6 activities of daily living, you can, if you want to, trigger this benefit, and we will pay you 125% of whatever your account value is at that point in time in 5 equal payments, either to you or a named beneficiary if you happen to die prior to the 5 payments. I know somebody mentioned there's some linked benefit product out there that if the owner passes away before all the payments are done, nobody else gets them. Company keeps it. Again, if you die after 2 years of payments, your named beneficiary will get 3 more payments. So again, anytime 6 year or beyond. So here's the nice thing about this. If a client, let's say in the 3rd year, suddenly can't perform 2 of 6 ADLs, do they have to trigger this? No, they don't. Let's go back. They can always, if they want to, just take a little bit here and there from the account value if they want to, if they need to. They've got the surrender charge waiver available as well. Take a little bit here and there out of that, and then wait until the 6th year or beyond and maximize that benefit. I call this the play with the company's money benefit because I can tell you right now, nowhere, anywhere today can you find a 5-year period certain immediate annuity that's going to return 25% on your money. You're lucky to get your money back today on a 5-year period certain immediate annuity. You give us $100,000 today, over 5 years, we might pay out $101,000. The interest rate environment is so low, it's so horrible. But we're paying you basically 5% a year if you wait until the 6th year. Again, this is just peace of mind features for the client. And again, remember, if you do trigger this feature, your contract is done deferring. And one common question I get is, well, Casey, what if all of a sudden it's the 10th year that I can't perform 2 6 ADLs, and can I trigger this then? Absolutely. You can wait until the 20th year if you want to. Just know that it will max out at 125% of whatever the account value is at that point in time. So, quick summary. Let me backtrack here real fast. That was the VersaChoice product as both an accumulation vehicle as well as a flexible peace of mind benefit product. And I think you'd agree that from a pure accumulation standpoint, those returns we saw, the actual credited rates we saw, current interest rates make this a very strong accumulation product. I'm not here to tell you folks that we've got the highest rates in the industry and we're going to have the best illustrated rates of any company out there. I'm not saying that because we'll never be the top when it comes to that. But think about, again, the strategies available. I mentioned 9 of them illustrating between 4 and 9%. I don't know if we have any sports enthusiasts here, and I apologize. I should have addressed this back when I was talking about the strategies. But think about it. If you're a coach, I'm sure some of you here coach your kids' teams or your grandkids or whatever, or you just like sports. Think about a basketball team. I mean, would you rather have a team, a starting lineup that has 1 Michael Jordan and 4 not so good players, or would you rather have a team that's got 4 real good players and 1 maybe okay player? Same thing with baseball. I'm a baseball fan. I was a big Ichiro Suzuki fan. If you know who he was, Japanese player that the guy just hit the ball almost every time he was up to bat. He rarely struck out, didn't hit a lot of home runs, but man, he got on base an awful lot. I'd rather have a lineup of 4 or 5 Ichiro Suzukis as opposed to 1 Ken Griffey Jr. or Sammy Sosa who might hit a home run every 5 times or 10 times at bat. That's the beauty of our product, is if one strategy isn't performing, you've got 8 other strategies that you can reallocate to that illustrate well based on current credited rates. I dare you to find another carrier that offers 9 strategies crediting between 4 and 9%. Because I inevitably have somebody always, if I'm at a face-to-face conference, oh, Casey, ABC company's illustrating at 13.5. Well, again, we're not going to have the highest illustrated rates of everybody out there, but let's take a look at that carrier and that product. What do they have after that 13.5% that you can go to when that thing doesn't perform? Because I can tell you right now, that thing ain't going to perform 13.5% every single year. And I apologize, I kind of got back on the high horse there, but again, diversification, multiple crediting methods that provide good, strong returns. All right, last thing we're going to talk about. The last P was the producer perks. So we covered point of sale pieces with those managing market volatility flyers. We just talked about the product positioning with the VersaChoice. Last P is our producer perks, and this is simply a reward program for you as an agent in the field for writing index annuity business with North American. I have not seen every single carrier's loyalty rewards program out there, but the ones I have seen, I'm going to go as far as saying this is the strongest agent loyalty rewards program in the business for the volume of premium that you have to write. So here's how it works. In any calendar year, if you can get to $1 million of issued index business, we'll go back to $1 and pay you a 50 basis point retro bonus, and you will start earning that 50 basis points additional comp on a monthly basis going forward. If you can get to $3 million, we first of all go back to $1, pay you another 50 basis point retro bonus, and from that point, you'll start earning 1% additional comp monthly going forward. And if you can get to $5 million, we go back to $1, pay a 50 basis point retroactive bonus, and you'll start earning an additional 1.5% from that point forward. And I know it's late in the year. We've got 3.5 months left to go. I know some of you here on the phone can hit at least one of these levels. I know we got some definitely $1 million producers on here. The nice thing is whatever level you end this year at, you will start next year at day one, $1. You don't have to re-earn your way back into the program. So that's all the more motivation for you to try to achieve one of these levels. Again, this is just based on index annuity business. MIGAs or multi-year guarantees do not count towards that. And with that, here's my takeaway. Here's my ask of you. Again, thank you all for your time. I sincerely appreciate it. Here's all I'm going to ask of you. I've got two asks. One is, as it pertains to those managing market volatility slides, I want you to think about your database of existing clients. And if we knew that tomorrow we were going to have a bear market, the market was going to tank, who would be the first two of your existing clients that would call you to talk about options that they have to prevent that market downturn? Which of your two clients would be the first ones to call you to discuss options? And I want you to reach out to them, and I want you to share some of those market volatility flyers, those conversation starters, and get them prepared like Noah and the Ark. Get them prepared for that next market downturn. Don't wait until it's too late. Second thing is, when you've got an opportunity where a client is just looking for pure accumulation, they're just looking for a safe place to put money that can grow the best, or they have a lot of what-if questions, and those peace of mind features and benefits would be ideal for them. I want you to think about North American and the VersaChoice. I want that to be top of your mind for the accumulation sales. Give us a shot. Run an illustration. Again, I'm not going to say we're going to illustrate the best, but keep in mind what else I shared with you on diversification and multiple crediting methods and strategies that illustrate and perform well. With that, Sarah, I don't know if you guys just have questions and answers in a box you want to go through or anything like that, but
Yeah,
I will turn it back over to you.
Yeah,
Awesome.
One of our agents, Tom, had a question. I didn't recall it during the conversation about the product. Is the fee for VersaChoice taken out at the beginning of the anniversary year or the end?
That is a great question. I purposely left off the slide on the frequently asked questions on those fee for rate strategies just for time purposes, but that fee is for those enhanced participation rate strategies is based on the beginning of year accumulation value deducted at the end of the contract year. And it is not charged at the time of death either. So some of our competitors charge it monthly or quarterly. The fee is assessed. It's based on the beginning of year account value deducted at the end of the policy year.
Thank you. Does anybody else? Looks like we have just a moment here. So do we have any other questions? Please click the raise your hand button and we will reach out to you. Now, if not.
Casey, this is PJ. I'm gonna go ahead and ask a question too that has come up more often than not anymore. And a lot of carriers are building this into their products, is vesting at death on the strategies. Do we have that option with the VersaChoice?
And repeat do we have, what was the question? I'm sorry, PJ.
A vested death benefit where, let's say we're in the middle of the anniversary year and the client passes away. Do they go back to the previous index? And I guess my question is, are they calculating any index credit to the date of death versus the anniversary?
Yeah, so there is partial interest credits at date of death on the VersaChoice. So it wouldn't be the last year's account value; it would be partial interest credit up to the time of death.
Perfect. It's a great feature.
So it's something, it's again something sizzle, probably more than steak, but it, like you said, it comes up probably more often than you think.
All right, looks like if there are no questions, obviously, if you're like me, you will have 10 questions 20 minutes from now. Please feel free to reach out to us. We've got, as you know, PJ, our annuity marketing director, as well as our two case development specialists. We've got Brenda and Jamie. All three can be reached at 800-747-5612. Please feel free, should any questions come up, give us a call. We look forward to doing business with you with VersaChoice.
Thank you much, Casey.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the time.